We'll see who winds up on top. We'll head into what could be our final match here for Relegations. We'll see if we do wind up in that tiebreaker world. Right now, Retribution, they go ahead, they ban out the Ratatasker, and Susano, we banned out by XL. So far, Jungle's on the mind.
So actually, I said that XL was going to be 2-1. They're actually going to be 1-2, one of these teams. And considering the fact that Excellence, they beat XL, they lost to Retribution. So it's up to Retribution that they control their own fate. If they win, they're going to have the tiebreaker against Excellence.
All right, so we'll keep an eye on that and see if we're going to get some bonus action. But for now, we'll start the game off by picking Isis front and center on Retribution. Now, it's normal to see different regions have different metas, and to be fair, the console scene has come closer to the PC world as far as the picks and bans are concerned. But Isis seems to be just a staple of the European console scene, and that's it. Why is Isis so popular here?
It could be the fact that they're trying to control the early mid-wave pressure at level 1 right off the bat. Isis is one of the stronger mid-mages to do so, but you're setting yourself up in these team fights to get basically picked on. Cabrakan immediately responded by XL, and this could be another opportunity to really shut down an Isis mid.
A Wheelish will be the selection next to the Isis. Cabrakan and Poseidon selected by XL. Again, characters that really do very well against Isis. CobbY, though, will be able to protect the mid lane Isis a lot. We'll see if the shields do come in handy. And Thor, one more time, will be in the jungle.
And with the Poseidon, this is a great opportunity to utilize that global pressure from the Thor. Last time, in the last game, we saw the Thor and the Poseidon on opposite ends of the battlefield. Definitely want to be able to wombo combo these two ultimates hand in hand, especially against the Isis. If you can catch her before the circle protection builds up, those are your opportunities to get those picks.
It's also a lot safer for Thor to be teamed with the Poseidon. That's what we saw there in the highlight reel. Thor comes down and gets punished by the Kraken. All characters that can dunk, Thanatos, Thor, Ratatasker, anytime you see these characters versus the Poseidon, that's got to be in your mind. Watch out. When you land, you might just get Kraken. So Poseidon being on the same side as Thor, certainly a strong look. Second round of bans come out. Bellona and Apollo banned out by XL. Sylvanas and Gab, why the Bellona ban?
The Bellona is to take away the disarm from Poseidon. Poseidon popping the trident is a huge factor to be able to build up his tide meter, being able to do a lot additional damage, as well as proccing the Gem of Isolation on those side hits, and it's also going to protect your Hunter in certain cases in that mid to late game. That 2-second disarm is nothing to scoff at.
I like these selections coming out from Retribution. Nobody on the side of XL really are going to... Is there another word for excel? The players on the right side of the screen aren't really going to excel at killing tanky characters like Hercules and CobbY, giving players a second life. So when it comes down to it, Retribution are sort of in a spot where they might just be able to out-tank the opposition.
It's very possible here for Retribution to do so. With this CobbY, the Rising Dawn is going to mitigate a lot of this damage. Hercules is going to absorb so much damage. That Circle of Protection is going to amplify the tankiness already of these two frontliners. This is a pretty good spot for Retribution. The only issue that they're going to have to deal with is the possible aggression between the Storm and Poseidon. You're going to have a long-range setup with that wall, which can also set up the Whirlpool Kraken combination. Not only that, you have an Athena, last pick for XL, who's always going to be looking for those dash taunts.
Retribution, XL, bring us the game.
Looking like we're going to see neither side going to be aggressive quite yet. Feeling each other out to see where the jungler's going to start, where the support's going to start as well. Alexum here on this CobbY, looking like he's going to sit in that mid-wave with the Isis. It's going to be very strong to be able to outclear this Poseidon Thor.
So right now, Retribution and XL just kind of feeling each other out, like you said. Looking at these teams, though, Waldrum on this Isis, he played it earlier on and had a pretty all-right game. They wound up winning, but I say pretty all-right, as Waldrum took a while to really find the sweet spot for those ultimates. Now that we're a little bit later on in the day, I think that Waldrum probably a little bit more comfortable, and I expect to see a better performance this time around.
Definitely needs to be able to find something in this game, because Isis is not a god that can really excel from behind, rather. You want to be able to get some sort of an early lead, which is why you pick Isis in the first place, trying to get that sort of momentum and snowball. Having a lot of control between the stun and the silence, you're trying to group up in these team fights and get ahead.
Right now, XL exploring their own jungle that's already been pruned of the smaller minions, thanks to Retribution pushing out into it. And right now, we're going to see how... Oh, XL in the enemy jungle, excuse me, as Retribution took out their own smaller guys to protect against that level 2 push.
Exactly. It was Jerome taking his own 2 purple babies, because what happens is, as a dual lane between your hunter and your guardian, if you clear out the whole wave, the first whole wave, you rotate over to the enemy's buffs. If you grab 3 of the 4 little ones, you're going to be hitting level 2, then you get back to the wave, and you're going to be getting there rather quickly because you're not spending time to get the actual big ogre down to get the buff.
So it's just the idea of making sure that everybody's level 2 at the same time so that you don't get really surprised. And here, actually, because of the solo farm, Duran is going to reach level 3.
Very important here for this Ullr to get these kind of level experience gaps over no compromise on the Medusa. Both of these gods are the ability-based hunters. A little bit of a different start, though. Rushing the boots is Jerome, whereas on the side of compromise, looking like he wants to go for the Transcendence Rush.
And that will give that'll give no compromise a little bit more of a early game power boost. It'll take forever to build up that Transcendence, but he's going to take longer on the other side if the Ullr even decides to go power item. XL looking to come on into the lane on the left side, but Duran not going to get ganked.
No problem at all for him. But the difference between these 2 builds for the Hunters is also the potion differential. No compromise with only 2 health potions, whereas Jerome, he recognizes that he's going to be in a 1v2, so he invests also into 2 mana pots.
And that'll keep him in lane a little bit longer.
Yes, but for no compromise, he doesn't need those mana pots because he also has Ali X to use those abilities. So a little bit of a shared mana pool between this dual lane.
Right now, Duran here in the lane by himself. Where does that put his support player? It's going to be elsewhere on the map. He's right back there in May.
He was in the mid lane for quite a while at the beginning of the game, trying to accelerate wall drum to be safe in that mid lane. The Rising Dawn not only clears the wave, but it basically negates a lot of the incoming damage for not only yourself as a god, but as well as your own minion wave, making it more difficult for the Poseidon Thor combo to really outclear you.
Early on, both of these teams kind of waiting for level 5 and their jungler is overpowered, can make some plays pre-level 5, but not really looking for them. Only if you find them by way of invade or otherwise, so overpowered. Not going to go too crazy looking for the kill.
He's waiting for the pull to happen in that solo lane. Nice little lacerate from No Compromise, avoiding the abduct from Alexim, keeping his purification still intact, not having to use that one in the dueling.
Right here. A little bit of trouble, but Ullr should be fine. This is what I was looking for. The gank get him overpowered. Not going to find the flank, however.
No, not quite yet. He's just waiting very patiently whether or not Minos is going to hit the pull, so then he can hit the gravity surge, finding the Cabrakan out of position outside the tower.
And here comes the aggressive play from Retribution into the enemy jungle, looking for the speed. 3-on-4 here as XL make the rotation out of mid and solo. Huge Kraken grabs 3. Still, damage not done. Bingo. Isis ult saves the day for the moment. Will it be able to save the lives of everybody? The pull into the pull. Blokely gets the kill. First blood. But Minos answers back right away for Retribution. Still, 500 gold bounty on the side of XL evens the game up. It's a tie score.
That's a very important pick for Blokely playing this Thor. It's going to make him have a little bit of a power spike over overpowered USB. And yet again, that rotation from Waldrum was perfectly timed. That circle of protection negates a lot of the damage from Blokely. That looked like it was going to be an easy triple kill there for that Thor player.
And I lamented the use of Isis ult from this player earlier on in the game, saying he was using it more offensively than defensively. And then about 3/4 of the way through the first game that we casted, Tully, Waldrum picked it up and dropped it during a team fight, won the team fight, and it basically won the game. It broke the back of the game for sure and allowed them to go ahead, find larger objectives, etc., etc. Right there, if that Isis ultimate is used in any other fashion, it's an easy triple kill for Sir Falls-a-Lot. That winds up bringing down the entire right side jungle, maybe even a gold fear if the team is fast enough. But instead, Waldrum drops the ultimate from the Isis and just completely changes the tide of the entire team fight. That is why you choose the Isis for a team.
And that's going to give a little bit of an advantage to a few individual members from Retribution. Looking at the Soul Lane specifically, Minos on this Hercules has a 1-level advantage over World Edit. And on top of this, having to invest into a mana chalice for the Magical Guardian out of that lane is going to halt his physical defense itemization here. Going for the Breastplate of Valor for the cooldowns is going to take a little bit longer here, having to invest 300 gold just to stay in the lane.
And we're going to see if that actually works out. Nice little route coming out onto no compromise, who's not too concerned. Alexium just kind of bothering his opposition, drops down the meditation, and everybody stays topped off for the moment.
The meditation there wasn't necessarily used just to be able to top off Geron on the health department, but just to give him a little bit more mana so he can stay in the lane, making sure that he gets the abilities off until he can still find the right item that he really wants. He has the boots completed whenever he wants it back to base. He could look for either a Transcendence here, or he could look to build into some lifesteal.
Yeah, we'll see which direction he winds up going in. We'll certainly keep an eye on that area, but for now, players just rotating and trying to find the next big thing. Nice ward vision coming out from both sides on that pathway to the mid lane. However, neither are going to be sentry wards, so both teams have vision of whoever's walking down that hallway. That's going to work out for both teams, and I think we'll see very careful play around the Gold Fury because of how much vision is there.
And Retribution doing a good job with this 1,000 gold lead. They're feeling confident to start up the Gold Fury. They have the vision necessary to spot it out. They see Poseidon coming around the corner. They're going to pop the Isis ultimate quickly enough, and nobody knows from Excel. They're not here in time.
That was just, they had the vision. Excel just lollygagged and wasted it, could not find the objective, and that's going to be a big turnaround. Blokely barely alive, knockup is good, and Blokely gets out of there. But the save from the support onto Waldrum is probably your headline of the day. Long-range Spirit Ball catches no compromise on the backside, and here comes Overpowered through the wall, can't find it, but finally does after the fact. Still not done, Ollie gets the kill.
2 for 1, but the Gold Fury goes in the way of Retribution. It was a great boulder coming from Minos with that nice rotation, but World Edit makes sure that he's useful as well with the paired up Athena ultimate. They find at least one kill onto Waldrum that was revived from the support player Alexium, doing a great job. And because of that revival in the first place, we see Waldrum get off a second Spirit Ball, which kills one and then sets up for a second kill.
Yeah, that was a great play by Waldrum, despite the fact that he falls down there. But I'm still looking at the big picture right there. I had just spoken about the fact that both teams had vision of that walkway to the Gold Fury. I had just brought that up, and the fact that there was just no attempt by Excel, they just waited too long.
And Excel needed to do something there because they lost the Gold Fury, and they saw the Circle of Protection being used to secure that Gold Fury by Waldrum. And the fact was, Retribution won that team fight without Circle of Protection. They only lost 1. They got 2 kills in return. They're extending their goal lead here to about 3,000 at the 9-minute mark.
Excel, Retribution did a very strong thing right there. With Waldrum's ultimate down, it benefits them to spread out. Retribution in general want to fight in one confined spot because of that damage reduction that's provided by the Isis ultimate. But in the rare occasion that you wind up in a team fight with that ultimate down, your game plan has to change, and everybody has to spread. Whirlpool is around a single location. Blokely's a spin to win, single location. Ground pound out of the Cabrakan, single location. Medusa nonsense, single location. There's not a lot of chain lightnings or Naja ring bounces or stuff like that that can deal with a spread out situation, and Retribution excel at taking the one-on-ones. Whether you're Hercules, a Wheelish, or Uller, you're all looking at matchups that are strong for you in the one-on-one. So they spread out and excel, despite the fact that Retribution didn't have that Isis ultimate they're leaning on, just didn't have the tools to deal with the strategy coming out from Retribution. I love the way they space the floor.
Know what your strongest is and know where you're at the weakest. Recognizing this was Retribution, and like you mentioned before, they just had to be able to spread themselves out very thinly, and nobody from Excel could really take advantage of the fact we see Blokely go into the sky trying to save out his soul laner, but the Kraken coming out doing a lot of damage.
Lands on 3 or 4, gets everybody stunned, and Surf falls a lot, makes them fall. World Edit gets dead, but Overpowered and Waldrum across the way are the bigger situations there. That's going to mean it's 2-on-2 as Minos is able to pick up the jungler. Alexa might fall here. Ollie gets a taunt. Minos is here as well. Can't find the kick, though. And Alexa lives to see another day. It's a 2 for 2.
Jerome is here, though, trying to find a potential cleanup. He's flirting with the idea of the speed buff steal, but finally, no compromise, has rotated as well. It's going to negate that option. Was potentially looking for the hail of arrows over the wall, thinking better of it. Going to retreat. 2 for 2 yet again. Retribution on top of things. Despite the Kraken being used, doing a lot of damage there, the revival from the CobbY doing work.
I would like to see the hail of arrows steal. I always root for it.
It's always a fancy thing whenever you can find a steal over the wall.
Long range spirit ball, a little bit off the mark, but a good pull from Minos.
Lexum, though, going to get denied further access by Blokely's wall. Struggling a little bit currently is Blokely. 3 levels behind his opposition. USB here, 3-level lead with this Willish.
Yeah, we've seen large level disparities here from the junglers throughout the entire course of the afternoon. Minos tries to find the pinball maneuver, won't be able to, just by in time. Here comes help from the Hunter, but double kick is going to be good for Minos. Alexum tries to help out as well. Blokely can't find the stun, overpowered by himself. And no compromise, ties it, it's 5 for 5.
Alexum didn't have his ultimate, but world that it does. Pinning wall drum into place. Thor landing right back on top of them. Here comes the Kraken, taking out the ISIS players to 2 for 1. Retribution losing 3 members now.
No compromise, finds another one. 2-1-1 for the Hunter, almost done with the Transcendence. Meanwhile, Duran, his Transcendence is completed. He's building into the Fatalis. And he's going to look for some help by way of the tower. Can't find it just yet. Waiting for it. Will find that tier 1. And it'll be traded out as Excel look for the tier 1 in mid. Although I don't think they're going to be able to get it. So that's just a clean 500 gold on the left side.
That was well played by Alexum using the Rising Dawn. And not only that, he waits for the tower shots to eliminate a few of the melee minions before he gets the root off on the last remaining 2 archers and the Poseidon. So therefore, once the archers die, the Poseidon would be the next target for that tower, trying to connect the abducts. Unfortunately off the mark there, but the mindset there of the support player shows why he's such a very nice tactical use to his team. Unfortunately, in that last team fight, he didn't have his ultimate available to save the rest of his teammates, which is why we saw that 3 for 1 exchange in Excel's favor.
Yeah, Alexum, one of the longer playing members here in the European Smite console scene. Retribution going to start at the Gold Fury one more time, halfway down already, and this time I'm not so mad at Excel. They're a little bit out of place. They got killed. There's really nothing they can do about that one as opposed to the last time. So Retribution pushed their lead even further, despite Excel's best efforts, who are leading the kills 7-6. Excel find themselves trailing in the actual categories that matter. 6,000 experience and 5,000 gold just about.
And the reasoning also why Excel won that last team fight was the fact that Jerome was split pushing that whole entire time on the left. Had Jerome been in that team fight, it probably would have went in the favor of Retribution.
Oh, yeah.
This Ullr having so many Transcendence stacks, having the tier 2 Fatalis, now finishing it off as he got so much farm being left unchecked in that dual lane. Boulder coming out over the top. Blokely not able to get his speed buff.
The experience lead that Retribution has right now, as I said, about 6,000, it's basically just a Wheelish and Ullr. I mean, you're at 4 levels in the jungle. Your mid laner's having the time of his life as well. Waldrum able to go ahead and save the day at the moment. But for real, I mean, four levels. Let's err on the side of caution and say 3.5 levels in the jungle and then 2 levels on the Hunter. That alone right there is the lead.
And that's very devastating for a Thor to be behind this much to an Willish. Dashing on in is going to be Lyzurrr into the sky is Blokely. A nice Petrify in the back line, trying to maybe steal the objective. Blokely doesn't teleport to his hammer. He's trying to kill Jerome, but he's going to die.
And that's why he's behind. He just hasn't been successful here throughout the course of the game. Just problematic and troublesome here. Minos is able to pick up number 8. For Retribution.
The chain CC from the driving strike into the spirit ball. This is why the ISIS has been picked, trying to synergize with that combination. Nice little whirlpool is going to prevent the chase from overpowered, but finally still confirming the objective is Retribution. They get that 750 gold now, and they're up about 7,000 gold now.
That's going to be a big push coming out from Retribution. Like you said, almost a 7,000 gold lead here, and really it's not about the gold right now, it's about what they do with it that I'm interested in, Anatoly. The golds here are going to be spawning in a couple of minutes, so that's not really an option at the moment. Tier 1 tower here in the mid lane could be hard sieged, but instead, Retribution opt to go into the jungle. Excel Esports going to respond by way of the Kraken, bringing down the jungler to basically nothing. Overpowered, gonna have to find a way out. Everybody else looking towards the tier 1.
Waldrum getting a lot of healing alongside Alexum during that circle of protection, taking a lot of damage as USB. Jerome is gonna fall. Great dive by Blokely.
And that's gonna be good for the moment, but Blokely just now is going to be looking on the good things.
Oh my goodness, that Spirit Ball saving Alexum's life, getting movement speed boost by Alexum's ultimate, despite Waldrum not actually in a position to die. But look at this, USB's in the back, fighting 3 with a knockup.
And that's going to put him in a position to find 1. Waldrum finds the second. Everybody low. Medusa able to get the ultimate off, but nothing to show for it. Minos, top side. Overpowered gets the kill. Blokely turns around, throws the hammer. He threw the hammer. Totally into the hammer.
He knew Minos was coming around the right-hand side. He thought that he was going to be dead either way. USB was like about 25% health.
Into the hammer.
If he threw the hammer, double-tapped the Willish with the Berserker Barrage, could have potentially found a kill there. Mechanically not on the mark there. Sacrifices his life. This is why he has 4 deaths and is 5 levels behind.
I think he has 4 deaths because he threw the hammer. He threw the hammer. He could have found a way out of the left side.
That's true. He could have went on the left-hand side. Nobody was coming from that angle. But either way, sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit to get back into the game. If you're 5 levels behind your opponent,
a single kill on the Wheelish isn't bringing you back into the game.
It's not bringing you back in the game, but it's not going to put him in a position to get you further ahead because USB would have a longer respawn timer from Blokely anyway. So he's not going to be getting more levels thus far. So you're going to out-revive him, right? Out-farm him for like that 10 to 15 seconds, but just couldn't find the kill.
All right, Toly. I'll half buy what you're selling. I'll half buy what you're selling. Ollie, he's not going to get stunned, and we'll see a split of the mid-cams here. 17.5 in. We've got 20 kills in total, and 12 of them have a Retribution tag on top. Out of 12,000 experience lead for Ret. That's going to be a fantastic look. And continuing their lead on the gold side, 11,000 gold as well. Retribution can basically do whatever it is that they feel fit and go to the enemy jungle and farm to their heart's content. The level 12 Thor, not going to have anything to say about it. Just hit level 12, still not picking up a relic. Which one would you like to see?
Has to be the Aegis. There's too much damage coming from overpowered USB. You could even look for maybe a Sunder trying to blow up one of these tanky frontliners, but then you're not going to have much survivability in these team fights, so you'd rather play it safe than sorry.
So both of these junglers forego the Hydra's Lament. We're actually seeing it built a 3rd item for the Thor. But usually we see Hydra's 2nd item right away. 10% CDR, not enough for these players, I suppose. Well, we'll hold that question as Sir Falzalot gets struck underneath the tower. Here comes Ali, big 3-man taunt, but there's no one to respond. Sir Falzalot finds a Kraken, but it does not find the right home. Blokely, waiting, finding a spot. Doesn't land on anybody. Throws the hammer to get back to safety. Tier 2 tower is going to be the target for Retribution. Pushing forward, Excel make the right choice. They're going to back off. They're going to back off. They're going to back off. They don't back off. And World Edit gets brought down to half HP, and the Tier 2 tower falls down. Retribution don't get a kill, but they get the objective that they were looking for and head into the left jungle.
That just goes to show you how tanky Cabrakan really is. Level 14 with only a physical defense and half of a magical, still surviving, but Blokely's not going to survive this one, getting caught in a very bad spot. Nice little ward by Retribution, right where that Tier 2 mid tower used to be on that jungle side, catching the rotation, and with that pick, they still have the ultimate from Waldrum to be able to continue pressing forward.
And I love the decision to just keep pushing forward. No Fire Giant needed. Retribution have a commanding lead, 16,000 gold, give or take, and that's going to allow them to just push forward and keep doing the job. A lot of health on this tanky Hercules as he has that Bulwark of Hope, and everybody else just sort of going to watch. Double root. chases the bees out of the mid laner and overpowered. Gets him. The boulder into the bowling ball. Fantastic combination from Retribution. Blokely grabs a ton of players with the ultimate. Great play by the Thor, but is it too little too late?
Ollie with a nice double stun. Is going to save his own life and find 2 kills in return. It was a nice petrify from No Compromise, setting up Blokely on his own anvil of Dawn, but it just wasn't enough. Excel Esports are too far behind. They lose 4 members. They lose their left side Phoenix, and they're losing this game.
Why don't we see the push out of the mid lane tower, on the mid lane Phoenix? They all backed. They were the players on Retribution relatively close to healthy. I understand that 20 seconds is probably not enough to get the Titan, but why not a push even to the mid Phoenix?
I think I would agree with you that they could have had the time to be able to get that mid Phoenix. It's a Medusa without her ultimate. Now, you don't have the circle of protection to mitigate a lot of the damage, and without a minion wave making sure you eliminate those backdoor protections, it's going to take a little bit of time to secure that Phoenix. Now, granted, you do have a level 18 Uller, which is going to be in a great spot to get that objective. But at this point, I think the call for Retribution was just to back as quickly as possible to get this Fire Giant. And honestly, this Fire Giant is just going to get the middle Phoenix in the long run anyway, so better safe than sorry.
Absolutely. If the decision is between the mid Phoenix and the Fire Giant, I think this time around we go for the Fire Giant. Retribution going to pick up said Fire Giant. And with the Fire Giant buff, they'll be able to push down on the right or mid tower or mid Phoenix, whichever one they feel fit. Once they pick up the Fire Giant, they pick up the Fire Giant, and Retribution proceed forward with the Fire Giant.
Locally, using the beads, dashing away, petrify after the Kraken World Edit's gonna fall, taking a lot of damage. Ollie getting pulled back into the thick of things. Waldrum gonna get stunned out by Blokely, but after Compromise's death, they're gonna find even more. 3 dead on the side of Excel.
And the double kill goes to the jungler. Blokely here gonna be playing ring
God.
around. Look at that hit. Waldrum just tearing through him with the wing gun.
This is an Isis that's ahead. Normally, you don't see this kind of stuff because Isises are utility-based. They look for the setups off of their teammates. Exactly. You have Hercules to be able to pull the targets in towards you, and you look for the follow-up, but you're level 18 Isis. You have the Rod of Tahuti, you have the Fire Giant, and you have the game in the bag.
Retribution 21-9. Over 20,000 gold above their opposition. They're going to go ahead and take this one. Waldrum looking fantastic in the mid lane on that Isis selection. And Jiran making things count as well. This one goes down in the books. This one belongs to Retribution.
Great play by Retribution. They excel their way to victory.
Let's take a look at Retribution and how they played that one. When can I trade you for aggro? Either way, she falls a lot. Sir falls a lot, excuse me. Picks up the double kill there with the ultimate and the follow-up damage from the Whirlpool. Minos does what he can, and that's the start of where Blokely really started to fall behind. The shutdown from the solo laner takes Thor out of the game, and really, Blokely just was... He couldn't find a spot to really have an impact in this game, unfortunately, because Retribution intelligently kept him down the majority of the time.
So off of this actual victory from Retribution, they shut down Excel's chances to get into the SEL, but because of the matchup earlier on between Excellence and Retribution, the head-to-head goes to Excellence.
So we'll see how that one winds up working out here. Nice little pickup from the jungler there for Overpowered as No Compromise falls down, and the double kill out of the jungle as well. So great stuff coming out from these guys, Retribution.
Retribution did a great job, and I love the play from Overpowered USB. There was that one play in the mid lane where he found the triple knockup, setting up the Isis Spirit Ball as well. This is the kind of synergy you need to really get the Isis a little bit of a softball.
Retribution take that victory, and that'll put them in a very interesting spot as far as the big picture is concerned. This, of course, is the relegation process for the European Smite Console League, and that means we're going to find 2 teams that wind up in the league. TMNT for life and Retribution wind up on the top side looking real strong.
Retribution, they find the win. They find themselves in the SCL as well. Congratulations to you guys.
Moving on, we're going to have some North American console action as well. We just saw the relegation process for Europe, but we're going to join the North Americans mid-season. We'll be back with that action. Stay tuned to hi-rez TV.